Hi guys, Patty from Patty's Crafty Spot, and I'm here to share with you my latest design team project for Crealies. And let me show you what I used. So Annalise asked me if I could go ahead and make a mini album using the Crea-Nest-Lies XXL dies. And I said sure, I'd give it a try. And I actually took it one step further and actually made the entire album out of dies, other than my binding system and the hinges that I used for the pages. And then just, I think, some photo flaps. But everything else is completely out of the dies. So it makes it so super simple to make this album where you don't have to guess on measurements or make sure you had everything perfect. So this is super cute, and I love how this came out. So the main part of the album, I use the Crea-Nest-Lies dies, the XXL, and this is number 95. And I also had used, on journals and planners, I had used the large pocket die. I also used on the edge die, and this is number 38, as well as on the edge die number 35. And then big labels and tags, I used number 15. So let's go ahead and walk through this album. So there is a full tutorial following this video. I hope you find it pretty easy to make. I thought it was super simple. So hopefully you enjoy it, but again, it is just so freaking cute. I cannot stand it. So I did use graphic 45 paper. This is an older collection, and it's Twas the Night Before Christmas. I think it's a 2014 collection, so I dug through my stash to find something cute to use. So the front cover. So the nice thing about the dies is that they line up really well. So like this large one here is for my cover and my base pages, and then the next size down was perfect for my pattern paper. So again, no guesswork. You just whip it through the machine and you are good to go. So I open it up like this. So the corner pocket here, which is made with the large pocket die from the journals and planners. And then my cute little tag. I use the cut-aparts just to go ahead and add them to this. The little cut-aparts were super cute, so I had to use those. And then over here, this is the pocket where you can go ahead and add more photos. A little photo mat. And I love how all these dies just work together. So really, really pretty. And then you come over to this side. Again, these are made with the journals, the large journals and planner tag. So I only used one piece of that to attach to the page to make it a flip. And then I use the other two parts that the pocket goes to make this little flip out photo mats. And these right here are the only ones I actually cut out of cardstock and not a die, just because of the size. You could probably use the large pocket tag, but I wanted it just a little smaller. I didn't want anything binding up against where it folds, because if it was the exact same size, it probably won't fold very nice. So again, we walk over here, and again, room for lots more photos. Nice big space to put a photo. And let me give you a measurement real quick. I know I didn't give you one, but this measures approximately 6.5 by 5. So you can definitely get nice 4x6 portrait photos in here. And then we flip again. So over here, a nice little flip up, keeping everything inside the pocket nice and tidy. Opens up, and then again, my other little photo mat. And then again, up on the top here, room for a photo. I didn't want to cover everything in pattern paper too much because I didn't want to chunk it out. I mean, right now it does fold nice, so as you can see, you do have plenty of room to spare when you go ahead and add more photos to it. So again, there. Really cute, using the tags again. There we go. So this has 4 pages, and then the front and the back cover, which is usable space to put photos. So it's kind of a 6-page book. Yeah, super cute and fun. I can't wait to try this method with other dies. And I guess this would what you'd say a true mini album, because mini albums these days are absolutely, they can go really huge. So this is, I think, a really true mini album. So this is the backside cover. So like I said, I did use the space, so a pocket along with this. And that's it. And again, I love the little binding system. It just adds an extra little decorative element to it. So you can, really cute. Anyway, there is a tutorial following this video, so I hope you enjoy it. If you do, please go ahead and share it on the Crealies Facebook page. I'll leave you a link down below. And enjoy the video, guys. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and get started on our pages. You will need to make 4 of these. So let me just walk you through real quick of it undecorated. So this is your front of your page. Opens up, and you have little photo flaps right there. And then they close down. You would flip your page over, another little photo flap here, a corner angle pocket right there, and then you also have a pocket on your base pages right here to go ahead and add some more photo mats. Alright, so let's go ahead and get started. So the first thing you're going to need is the Crea-Nest-Lies Dies, the XXLs, and this one here is the 95 with the rough edges. I absolutely love the rough edges. You're also going to need your large pocket die from the journals and planners. I am also using on the edge die number 38, and I'm using this little piece here, and that's going to give you your little fancy part on the back side here. So let's get started. So you're going to need 2 of these ones. So because they have jagged edges, and they're not the same all the way around, you need to go ahead, cut out your pieces, and then line them up so you know that you're going to have them perfectly lined up, because if they're like this way, they're not going to line up. I don't even know, can't really see it, but they're not going to line up perfect. So because of that, first thing you want to do is go ahead and make sure that you are lined up to your correct pieces. You're going to take a pencil, and on the first one you're going to write front, and then flip both of them over and write back. So that way you're determining your front and your back, and you're lining up. The other thing you want to do is take it where you have the front. Now this side here, over here, is going to be your binding side. So just make a little arrow, and I'm going to write binding, like that. And then I'm going to pretend I flip my page over in the book, and I'm going to point to this back side, and I'm also going to write binding. And trust me, this is going to help when you're assembling everything. So as you can see, my back page, binding pointing to here, and then binding pointing to here on my front. That's my front page. Oops. So you can see just like that. So they're both pointing to that. So now what you want to do is separate the pieces, because now we need to go ahead and add our little fancy edging for our pocket. So again now, so this is my back cover pointing to my binding, and I'm working on this side here. So this is my binding and I'm working on this side. Now these pages are roughly 6.5 inches, so I need to find my center, which will be 3 1/4 with my centering tool. And then these little pieces here are about 4 inches. So on my centering tool, they would be going to the 2-inch mark. So I'm going to go ahead and make sure I'm all lined up. And I also put the washi tape on it. That way I can just, as soon as I know I have it where I need to go, I can just stick it down, just like that. Alright, so I'm going to run this through my machine so I can cut my fancy edge. So I have that. And just remove that. If it doesn't cut all the way, make sure you cut it nice. But I know mine was almost all the way there, so I could do that. So go ahead and grab your front piece again, making sure you're lining up. So again, I'm still good. So I cut it where I needed to cut it. So now you need some 2 binding pieces. So I just cut 1.5 inch strips of paper and scored at 3/4. So what I want to do, this is how I'm going to go ahead and attach my pages. So I don't need the full length, so I'm just going to go ahead and just trim it. And I'm good. And then the next piece. And I'm just going to add my tape. And I'm just using anything to cut my tape. This just happens to be a little piece of plastic I had in my stash. It's actually a corner tool, but I don't really use it much other than tape. So you're going to add tape to both sides. And then fold back. Now we're going to attach our pages. So the first piece I'm going to go ahead and stick all the way to the top. I just want to do a dry run to make sure I'm not overhanging anywhere. If you are, trim down your piece a little more. And I am bringing this all the way to the top without going past my jagged lines, because I don't want to cover those over. And then the same thing down here. Good. There we go. And that's how our pocket's going to attach. So we have this. So again, now I'm going to take this piece and I'm going to set it over the top. So I'm just turning it. So what I'm going to do is set it on top, and I'm going to make sure that I'm lining up all my jagged edges to each other so you can't see. And once I'm sure of my fit, I'm going to hold it down. Just going to lift this up a little to remove my tape. Oops. Press that down. And then we do the same thing to the bottom, making sure I'm all lined up. And remove my tape. And there we go. So now we're good. So we have that. So now we need to add some of our other pieces. So you also need 4 of your large pocket dies. I'm only going to use 2 right now on the front cover. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add tape to the bottom pieces only right now, just so you don't get confused in assembly. And I'm just going to trim that up real quick. Alright, so what you want to do is go ahead and fold on all 3 of the flaps for your pocket, just to get them creased. Alright, so now what you want to do is take your base page. Again, here's the back. Here's my first pocket. So I only have tape on just one piece. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to set it about 1/4 inch from the top and all the way to the edge as far as I can go without going over any of my jagged pieces. And once I get it to where I like, I'm going to hold it down. I'm just going to lift up this and remove the tape. And now I'm going to do the same thing, and I'm going to put it into the bottom corner. Doing the same thing again. So now we have our flaps. And now you're going to need, out of regular cardstock, you're going to cut 4 pieces that are going to be 3 1/4 by 5. So I have my 4 pieces. So now on your little flaps here, unfold these pieces here, and you're going to apply tape to the inside of all of those. I'm just going to do this real quick. You could put the tape on first if you want. I just figure if you're following along, it might be easier instead of saying put the tape on the front flaps, put the tape on the back flaps. If we just did it like this, it would just be easier to follow. So I'm just going to trim all those up because I don't want any overhanging. This is going to be really cute. I can't wait to see it done. Of course, you'll already know, as usual. I don't know because I'm making it as I go. But these are going to be quick little books that you can just pop out super quick. And the fun part about using the dies is you don't have to worry about measuring too much because it's all done for you. Alright, so now I have my tape on all those. So I'm going to get my little photo flaps. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put these on. And I'm going to line them up to the edge, almost to the edge. I am just like a hair away from this edge here, because I don't want to go too far, because this is where, oops, this is where my flaps fold, and I don't want to bind them up, so I don't want my photo mats to overlap on that section. So I'm going to go ahead and line them up. I'm just going to fold this to make sure we're snug, and then attach them. So I'm taking my photo flaps and I am going all the way up to where it folds over, and I'm making sure it's nice and snug. And then I'm going to do this one. Same thing. And you can always fold it down to make sure you're nice and even with that, and you're not going too far where that part's not going to fold down. And do the other side. And then one more. Alright, so we have that. So that part's done. So we're going to flip our book over, and now we're going to use our last two large pocket pages, or pocket dies. So we're going to do our flap from the top. So what we're going to do is we can go ahead and stick down the side flap in one of the bottom flaps, or top flaps, side flaps. And this, we're just sticking them down to make nice evened off edges. You could cut them off if you want. I prefer just to fold them over because sometimes cutting you may not be even, and I just kind of like to have the nice even edges. So for these two, we're just going to stick them in on themselves because you don't really need them. Like that. So now you have the piece at the top for your flap, so you can just go ahead and get it folded creased. So now I'm going to put tape on this side here. Oops. And just trim that up too. So got my flap, just going to fold it over, and I am going to go ahead center it to the top, and make sure you're not coming all the way up to the edge because of the jagged part. And I'm just going to untuck it and stick it. So now we have our little flap. So now the last piece is our last large pocket die. So what I want to do is I'm going to attach it to right here. So on my book, it's going to be attached to this corner here. So it's going to be a corner pocket. So I'm going to hold it like this because these two pieces here are what are going to attach here and here. So I'm going to trim it from this corner to this corner because I'm making an angled pocket. So I'm just going to rotate it like this. And I'm going to cut it straight off. So I'm going corner to corner. Show you again. So there's that. So I'm going to add tape to these two pieces. This piece isn't needed. So this is why I cut it first and then get rid of it, so I don't have to worry about wasting tape if I put tape on the whole thing. And again, I'm just going to trim it up. Stick to my finger. And we are almost done making our page. And you're going to need 4 of these. So here we have this. Fold it over and over. So now we're going to take it, lift your flap up, and go ahead and line it up where it needs to go. Like this. And there we go. So that is all done. So like I said, go ahead and make 4 of those. So now we're going to go ahead and make the front and the back cover. So I went ahead and already cut my pieces. We're going to follow the same method as we did on our base pages for the front and the back cover. The only difference is when you put these together, so if you're closed like this and you open the book, I'm going to have the 2 pockets on opposites. So these ones here are actually going to mirror each other. So you can see how I did these 2. So they're going to mirror each other in the book. And I wanted to use the covers as pockets because I didn't want to miss the opportunity for more storage for your photos. So what I followed, again, I followed the same thing. And the only difference is on the front, where I put front cover, and then on the back I did back cover, just so I knew exactly where I had the stuff. So again, I went ahead and cut my little hinges. So the only thing I didn't mention when I was building the pages, I don't know what it is in other countries, but I was using 65-pound weight on my base pages and stuff for that. But my cover, I'm actually using 110-pound weight because I just wanted to make it a little more sturdy. So if you can't get that, I would just cut out of the 65. You could just cut 4 pieces and then attach 2 together. For each like 1 page, you could attach 2, just that way, so it's a little thicker than the regular, but it's not necessary because your book will still function the same way. I just wanted to do a little heavier, and mostly that's just because I'm so used to using chipboard for my covers, and I obviously can't use chipboard with my dies because I'm never going to cut it. So I just wanted to make it a little bit thicker, so that's all I did. So again, I'm following the same method, but I have to do them mirror image to each other. So this is going to be super cute. I can't wait to get it done. Right. Again, I'm just going to line it all up, making sure all of my jagged edges are even. Okay, and so that I have like this. Now we're going to go ahead and add some pockets. So you need 2 more of the large pocket dies. And now these pockets are going to go on the insides. So again, like before, you got to mirror image each one. So I'm going to line it up. So I know I need my binding here and here. And then on this one here and here. So I'm going to lay my pockets down like this. And I need to cut from here to here and here to here. So let me go ahead and cut those. So again, making sure I'm lined up, corner to corner. All right, and then I'm just going to add my tape. Trim this off. And then just fold on all my lines. So this is going on the back cover. So I'm going to line it up. When I got it where I want it, I'm going to go ahead and stick it. And then I'll do the same thing with the other side. Trim off all the excess. Oops. And line this one up too. If you want to, you can always copy the base pages completely if you wanted to and add like the flap on the top here. I'm not going to because I want my pocket to be more visual than like the flap, but you'll see the same thing on all the others. So now I have all my base pages. So this would be the front cover and the back cover, and there we go. So now we're just going to do the binding system and put this together. Alright, so now we need to go ahead and make the binding. So I went ahead and folded it all. So this is what you're going to need. So your binding page or binding part is going to be 5 by 11 1/4, and you're going to go ahead and score on all of these measurements. So if you go ahead and pause the video right now, you can either go ahead and score them or write down these measurements. All right, so go ahead and do that. All right, so now you need to go ahead and attach. So what I did was I put score tape on every other 1-inch section other than the first one. So you're not going to put any tape on the first or the last. And then the 4 pages of your book are going to be the center one. So this is where your covers, you'll understand it when you see it together. But the first one is where your cover is going to attach. And then the second one is the next page. And then we just go on. So let's go ahead and start attaching these. So again, nothing on the first one. And then the second one, you're going to fold over. So this is kind of what we have going now. And then you have your 1/4 inch spacers. So we're going to go ahead and do it again. And then the other one. So basically you're doing like how you normally make a regular mini album binding pages. We're just going to do the final steps a little different. So now right now, this is what you have. So it's just like this. So you're going to have where your pages are going to attach, and then the 2 outer flaps is where your book's going to attach. So what we need to do now is draw some lines on this part here. So on every single one of the hinges, you're going to measure, so these are 1 inch because that's what we scored. So you're going to measure in the middle at a 1/2 inch and put just a little pencil mark, because when we put our pages on, we don't want it to go all the way to the end. So we're going to just come down a 1/2 inch. So what you want to do is go ahead and measure at a 1/2 inch. So I'm just going to go ahead and use my grid on my desk because it's right there and handy. And here's my pencil. And I'll show you in 1 second. So all I'm doing is just putting a little, can't really see it, but a pencil mark. So I'm going to do that on both sides just because it'll help for lining up. So I'm going to go to every single one of these, and I'm going to mark them at a 1/2 inch. So I'm going to do that, and I'll be back. So let me show you what I did. So I went ahead and marked everything down at a 1/2 inch, and then I applied my score tape. So I used 3/8 inch score tape. So this is how we're going to bind the book. And the other thing I did was I just cut out 2 strips of cardstock, and this is going to go on the back of the book to try to keep the spine part here nice and flat and sturdy for the mini album. And it also will cover over all of these lines here. So this is 1 1/4 by 5 inches. So it is literally the width of my spine and then the height. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to attach the 2 pieces together. And you are going to want to do this in this order. Don't try to get ahead of yourself thinking that you can get like skip some steps, because you do really need to put it together in this order. It just makes marking and stuff like that much easier. So I have that there. And I just want to overlap because I want full tape coverage on this piece. So and I am using 2 pieces of my 110 pound, whoops, my 110 pound cardstock, just because I want it a little heavier. So I need the tape. And I'm going to attach these 2 together. And if you're not sure if you can line these up perfect like this, go ahead and cut them just a little bit bigger and then attach them and then cut down to the size you need. But I'm pretty confident in doing that myself. So now you're going to go ahead and add more score tape to it. Because now you need to attach the binding to it. This one might be a little trickier, so. And this one I definitely want full tape coverage. So I'm going to start, let me zoom down more. So now what I want to do is the back part here, I want to attach this part. So I think, let's see, I only have tape off of half of it, so making sure I'm lined up so it looks good. So as you can see, I'm attaching that there. And I'm looking like I'm pretty good, so I'm going to go ahead and remove the tape for the other half. And kind of lightly sticking it down just so I know that I'm going to be nice and even everywhere. So I know it's hard to see, but now you can actually see like all these pages are stuck together really good. So now I'm just gonna burnish it down. So looks pretty good, and it's nice and sturdy too because of the cardstock. So I think just go ahead and get them creased in because you don't want any problems when you go to fold your pages. So alright, so I think we're good. I think we can go ahead and add our pages and see what it's going to look like. So there are 4 pages on our front and our back cover. So I'm going to start with my back cover. So basically, let's see if I can lighten this up. Hold on one second. Okay, so we're ready to go ahead and attach the pages. I think I got it a little lighter so you can kind of see a little bit better. So what I did was on the first page, or the first page I'm attaching, which is actually my back cover. So I want to make sure that I'm going to kind of be centered. So what I did was on this page here, because this is 6, let's see what my size is, 6.5. So 3 1/4 from using my centering ruler, 3 1/4 from each side is my middle. My binding pocket here is 5 inches, so that's going to put me at 2.5 inches on each side. So on the first one, I just put a little tick mark at the 2.5 inch mark, so I can go ahead and know when I put my binding on that this is my center spot. So I might do it to the others, but we'll see how this goes first. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and slip this on. And I'm going to be lining it up to the top, and then the little marks that we made on here, the 1/2 inch marks, that's how far down this part here is going to go. So I am lining it up to my little pencil mark right here. You can kind of barely see it. And then I have my 1/2 inch here. So basically I'm going to go ahead and slip this over, and I'm going to line it up all my dots. So that should be about even right there. So I feel pretty confident that's where it's going to go. So I'm going to go ahead. Let me just move out. Let me zoom out. So I feel pretty confident. So I'm going to go ahead and remove my score tape from the first piece. So I'm going to go ahead and actually stick it now. So again, lining everything up. And I feel pretty confident with that, so we're going to give it a whirl. So as you notice, the spine is not going to go all the way to the top to the bottom because that's not the look that I want. I wanted to kind of go for something a little different. So let's try the next one, which will be the next page. So let me see if I want to make a mark. I mean, I have to. I might just kind of hold it on my desk. If I'm holding it, I feel like I might be able to get them even. So let's try that. So what I'm doing is putting the bottom of this to the desk. And then because these little pages here, they're so wide like this, I can just hold them. And I feel like if I can hold it even and eyeball it all, I might be able to actually get them all perfect. So let's try that. Otherwise, you can go ahead and make marks like I did on the first page. So let's see. So I feel like I'm pretty good. So we're going to go for it. Yeah, I kind of feel like it works that way. So let's go ahead and try the next one. So let's test run again. I like to test run every page. Alright, let's go for it. And I have never made anything like this before, so this is literally trial and error. So all I'm doing is just trying to lightly stick it first. Because if I need to, I can try to pull it off. So far so good. Go with the next one. Alright. Okay. So I am removing the score tape from the front and the back of my binding part. And when I'm doing the pages on the desk like this, I am trying to hold my binding pocket as level as I can. And that seems to be working because if I'm looking at it, my 1/2 inch mark that I made, I'm actually still lining up, so not too shabby. Alright, so let's add the last page, and then I got my front cover. So, and now that I'm adding more, it's actually just standing on its own. And because the binding hinge part there is shorter than the pages, you don't have to do any trimming. So normally you would angle the little edges a little bit to fit in snug, but not this way. We don't need to do that. Oh, it's going to be so freaking cute. So excited. And then my front cover, which I can attach. All right, let's do this. Oh, I love it. I love it. Oh my God, look how cute. So I like this little idea sticking out. I thought that was going to be fun. Just wanted to add a little different design. So we open up, and for the most part it's going to lay flat. So you have room for all kinds of pockets. And then the book just keeps opening. That looks neat. So I'm just making sure everything is opening good, and we look like we're good. Perfect. Alrighty. Time to decorate, and I will be back and show you what it looks like. If there's anything in between that I need to show you while I'm decorating, I will go ahead and do a video on that. Otherwise, you will see it when it's completed. Alright, so let me show you how. This is the first pocket page right here. So I went ahead and I cut out my pattern paper, and what I'm doing for the pattern paper on my pages is I'm using the next size down on the dies. So as you can see on my cover, it fits perfectly with the edging. So I'm just using the next size down, so there's no guess. I don't have to guess on what size. Just use the die and perfect cut. So now I'm working on the pocket part here. So let me show you. So I went ahead and I cut my piece, and now I'm just going to trial run it. Oops. I'm going to go ahead and stick it in my pocket just like that. And you can go ahead and flatten it down just so I know where I'm going. So I have it nice and flat. I can see on here where I had cut out my part for the pocket. So I'm going to go ahead and set this on. So I'm on the black part here. I can see part of it. I don't think I can get that close. No, I can't. But I can see like right here part of the stitching for the die. So what I'm going to do is, once I know I have my pattern paper exactly where I'm going to want to glue it down, so make sure it's perfect, and then I'm going to go ahead and take this die and line it up to the black cardstock where I put that first one in. And once I'm confident I have it where it needs to go, I can stick it down. So right there, I feel like I'm pretty good. So I've stuck it with my washi tape, and I'm going to run it through, and I'm going to hope I got it right. So I went ahead and cut that, and let's see what we have. Keep getting caught on my pocket there. Why are you not cooperating? It's all the edging on it. Doesn't want to play nice. So, and I'm just going to move it just a tad. So let me get, so there you go. So you can see just a little bit of the black, so I'm just going to come down just a tad bit so I can get the nice part of the black. So just like that. And then I'm just going to glue it down. Anyway, that's how you're going to create those pages for the pocket pages there, or the pocket pieces. Alright, and then real quick, while we're still here, I'm going to go ahead for my pocket die. So this is the pocket. I'm going to go ahead and cut my pattern paper out with the center part for the large pocket die. I'm going to cut it out, and then I'm just going to go ahead and do the same thing. I'm going to cut it from this corner to this corner here, so I'll get the perfect size that goes in this piece. Alrighty. So the last thing I need to make is for my little pockets. I already made them, but I'm going to show you. So these are the little pull-out photo flaps that I'm making. So I just need to show you how to make those. So let's go ahead. So what I did was I cut my paper the width of my die, so it is exactly the same width. I didn't want to have to worry about cutting out like the little extra if you went over. So I wanted to keep these the exact size of my die. So what I like to do is to measure, I want to make sure I'm even side to side. So what I do is I just use my grid on my desk, my cutting mat, and I line it up, and then I see how far this top part here goes. Let me zoom in. So what I like to do, again, so with my little grid, these are 1-inch squares. So I like to line it up to the bottom and then see how far I come up. So it's about 1 1/4 inches. So I know I'll have clearance to go ahead and cut. So then what I usually do is I just take my ruler and I will measure down 1 1/4 inches. Like that. So I have my little tick marks that I just made, and then I take my die and I line it up to those marks just like that, and then I use the washi tape to keep it down, and then I just cut it out. And then I know that this piece here is cut all the way, so I mean, you could use scissors, but there's barely anything holding that on. So that's how I do that. And then all I need to do is fold it. So I'm just going to use my scoreboard, and I already know on this particular one, I am coming in and scoring at 4.5 inches. So I'm going to line it up, 4.5. And then what I'm going to do is fold it. And then right up here, I don't want it to come past, like this half here, come past all the fanciness. So what I do is just close it, and I'm just making a little mark where this piece here lines up to here, and I'm just going to cut this part off. So all I did, so this was the full piece, like this, and then I just cut this piece off. So now you can see the decorative edge either side when it's in the book. And then I just cut out the piece here and go ahead and add it on. So that's how I made the cute little photo mats. So that's how you make this little book. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. This was super fun, and I am definitely going to go ahead and make more of the different dies, because I think this came out just absolutely cute, and I love how my binding part here sticks out like this. Anyway, if you like what you see, give this video a thumbs up. If you want to see more of these kind of little mini albums, let me know in the comments. If you're watching this on my YouTube channel, Patty's Crafty Spot, or the Crealies YouTube channel, give them both a thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, and until next time, guys, happy crafting. Bye.